There we are. Hello, and today I'm going to be talking about. There we go, that's better. Today I'm going to be talking about claiming networking expenses. It's one of the most popular things I'm asked about, and actually there's an awful lot of confusion about it. What's tax deductible? Hi. What's tax deductible? What's not tax deductible? And why? And actually, obviously, what you can claim on your tax return. So I'm Rosie Slowsick. I'm onemanbandaccounting.co.uk. If you want to find out more about me, then you can go and have a look at my profile. And there's some links in there. You can get that. Go and block that one. Excellent. First block of the day. And I'm a tax return coach helping one-man bands, usually women, to help do the tax returns and feel confident about what they're doing. So, say networking expenses. It's we're talking about. Hi, Alan. We're talking about going out networking, going to events, going and meeting people in cafes or in other places, and that's the kind of thing that we're talking about. It's not the kind of networking that you do with cables and things. So that's completely different. So this is networking, and because of HMRC's rule that something is tax deductible if it is wholly with a W, wholly and exclusively for business. There's a lot of confusion about this, and a lot of people actually believe that most networking expenses are tax deductible, and actually most networking expenses usually aren't tax deductible. So I'm going to explain why. So the reason about the wholly and exclusively, hi Ian, is because it's to do with whether or not there is actually a personal benefit to you. And this is where HMRC's interpretation comes in a little bit differently than ours. And again, I'll explain in a little bit later why they have this interpretation, why it's not quite as unfair as it sounds, even though it's a bit hard luck for us at the small end. The main thing is because when you're going networking, most of the time your expenses go into what is counted as client entertainment, or at least entertainment category. And I actually, because there's often so many of our expenses actually go into this category, quite often, for example, I will actually split my spreadsheet up into categories. So, for example, the entertainment will have, for example, client meetings category. And it will have networking with other people, building relationships category. It will have events as another category. And another one I will also have this isn't necessarily strictly speaking networking, but after obviously when you go and work out you go and work in a cafe yourself, or just take some time. Hi Simon. So all of that is entertainment expenses, and the vast majority of them are not tax deductible, as I can say. Hi Simon. And the reason for this is because it's considered a personal benefit. So, hi Jeremy. So, for example, you go to a networking event and it's you travel there, and maybe it's a free event and you buy lunch or you buy dinner, or you just buy a tea or coffee. Now, obviously, you want to keep track of all those expenses, and obviously they are still business expenses, but they're not tax deductible. And the reason is because it's food and drink for the benefit of your person. Basically, it's not actually a business expense from HMRC's view. So that's the first thing. However, there are exceptions. So, for example, you go to your networking event and you've paid, say, £25 to go, and your glass of wine or your nibbles or sometimes even a meal or your cup of tea and coffee, they're included in the price. Now, in that case, it is incidental that whether or not you actually consume the food and drink. So actually, for that case, the whole lot is tax deductible, which I say, if you actually do networking events, please bear that in mind. You can actually sometimes use it as a selling point. So that is, and again, another example is there's a lot of networking organisations. Hi. Another lot of networking organisations, you pay one fee for the whole year. And the meetings will involve food and drink. But again, whether or not you attend a meeting or not, you're still paying the same price. BNI is one of these. And again, in that case, the whole thing is tax deductible because effectively it comes under marketing. So again, you're going to be charged the same amount whether you eat and drink or whether you don't. It is incidental. So in that case, again, the whole lot is tax deductible, which is nice. But I know that a lot of events, it's you pay the event fee if there's an event fee, and the teas and coffees or the food and drink, they are actually a separate price. And in that case, then they are not tax deductible, even though you're only there for business purposes. They're not tax deductible. In the same way that someone who has a golf membership, and whether or not they like golf, they no thank you, bye Jeremy. And even though they may like golf, for example, if your clients do most of the business on the golf course, then you may hate golf, but you still need a golf membership to go and do the business as part of your business. I'm afraid, it's not tax deductible. And I think most of us would agree with that. And it's the same kind of principle. So that's what I'm talking about. Now, the parts of networking expenses that are really, really simple and that are tax deductible are your travel to the event. That's travel. That's absolutely fine. No problems at all. And again, the fee for the event, if there is one, that's absolutely fine. That's tax deductible as well. That's no problem. So that's for networking events. Now, for networking, when you're actually meeting somebody in a cafe or at an event, again, it's the same thing. Your travel there is tax deductible. Hi, David. For the sake of argument, say it's an event and you need to go and they need to pay for that. But generally speaking, if you're meeting someone one-to-one, you don't normally need to actually pay to go there. Although having said that, if you're having a networking business meeting with someone, and say you're going to a music concert and you're not music journalists or somewhere where it's clearly businessly relevant, then almost probably the fee for that isn't going to be tax deductible. But generally speaking, you're going to be meeting for lunch, you're going to be meeting for dinner, you're going to be meeting in a coffee shop somewhere, in a cafe. That food and drink is not tax deductible. It doesn't mean you necessarily don't do it, but it means that the food and drink are not tax deductible. And that's the important thing. Even though you're going there wholly and exclusively for business, it's not tax deductible. It's the same rules as what you have, for example, say obviously you're a much bigger company and you wanted to meet at La Gavroche, and you wanted to spend, you could spend just, drop £500, no problem on meeting there. That's not tax deductible either. And like I said, the same rules for them and they are for us. And I appreciate that, £2.50 on a coffee is a lot smaller down the scale, but the rules are the same, and that's why. So networking expenses, we have expenses that are meeting people just one-to-one in coffee shops and at cafes, and normally they're not tax deductible because it's almost always just food and drink, but your travel is. Just obviously make sure you keep the good records. We're talking about events, that's the second one. The cost of the event is tax deductible, so is the travel. However, if you need to pay for food and drink separately, that isn't tax deductible. However, yeah, but the thing about playthrough is that all those expenses are networking expenses, which is what I'm covering today. So I'm going to stick to networking expenses. So I was saying if you do the event, if the cost of the event is tax deductible, if the cost of the event includes food and drink, that's tax deductible as well. But if you need to pay for the food and drink separately, the cost of the food and drink isn't. And again, just to expand it slightly, again, this is all basically goes into the entertainment category. If you meet people just for, say you're meeting a client in the coffee shop or that kind of thing, that's not tax deductible either. Even though they may want to meet you in a restaurant, they might want to meet you out in the cafe, basically you just have to pony up. It's not tax deductible. It's just part of doing business. It's the same kind of thing that, say you've got an online course for sale on your website, like my How to Do Your Tax Return course, which, by the way, all of this is actually included in that with a bit more detail. You can the, you know, I'm not going to send an invoice from that. It wouldn't happen. No one would buy it. So of course I have it, you know, you pay that by PayPal for that how to do your tax return course. That PayPal fee, oh, that's really, really good playthrough. So basically I will pay PayPal that fee for doing it. It's a tax deductible expense, but I still accept the fact that, you know, I need to pay the fee, and it's for the convenience of everyone of wanting to buy the course. So it's that kind of thing. I know, particularly when the expenses stack up, it can feel a little bit unfair. But like I said, it's the same thing as you not being able to put through a massive, you know, grand bill in Le Gavroche as well. It's the same rule. So I hope that helps. I've said this. You can see the blog post about this on my website. If you go to the link on my profile, onemanbandaccounting.co.uk/periscope. Thank you. Then I say I've got a link to that there, and you can go and have a look, and all my other links for my other Periscope broadcasts, and I'll also put the replay up of this later this week. So say I'm Rosie Slosick. I'm a tax return coach offering retreats, coaches and courses. So say thank you very much, and just go and have a look.